3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talking with the Source. It's just myself tonight. You've got to put up with, unfortunately. AJ's not too well, so just myself. But we do have a guest, and he is a great guest from a great team. I want to do a couple of quick shout-outs to, obviously, Talking with the Source on Facebook, on YouTube, on most of the platforms, as well as Halfern Paranormal, Coventry Circle Paranormal, and My Journey Paranormal. Also, Parapost Network, our friend Brian Laverty, and also the Global Ghost Hunt. Please go on globalghosthunt.com. It's going to be a great event. But without further ado, because I'm crap at this on my own, I'm going to bring the guest straight on, and we're going to get straight into it. So please welcome, everybody, Anthony Ceballos from the Texas Wraith Hunters. Is that what it is?
Yep, Texas Wraith Hunters.
That's it, yep. So, Anthony, welcome to the show. Sorry about the whole confusion at the start. AJ's took ill, so I'm doing it on my own, but one of them things. He usually does all the technical side of it, and I just sit here, you know.
See?
So, how's things with yourself?
Doing pretty good. Just excited for this new year. Had an awesome year, 2022. Got a lot of things going that I didn't expect to do. So this year here, we're already planning to start doing some investigations and continue doing the podcast.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get into that with you in just a little bit. Kimmy Wales, hello. So the first thing I want to ask you is the normal run-of-the-mill question: how did you get into the paranormal?
Well, I mean, that just goes back. I mean, it's just kind of like a lot of the paranormal investigators. I had experiences back when I was 5 or 6 years old, and that's when it just started for me. I mean, you know, I found out real early in age that I was able to sense things and see things, and of course we couldn't talk about it back then. You know, this was like 40 something years ago.
Yeah,
and,
tell me about it.
Yeah, and so yeah, it was just really hard growing up with it because you know you just trying to understand what it is. And then, so it's really just been part of my life for really just all my life.
It's one of those things, just what you were saying, like about how years ago it wasn't, how shall we call it? It wasn't accepted years ago like it is now. And, you know, if you'd have, you know, come into your, you know, your parents or anybody and you'd been like, you know, oh, I see ghosts, I can talk to them and stuff. You'd see your parents saying, yeah, and they'd be lifting the phone with the other hand, and then there'd be a guy with a big net chasing you, you know?
Yeah. Well, actually, they did. I mean, it was like that. I mean, you couldn't talk about it. You know, you'd go to the doctor, and that's it. You're done.
Yeah. But the thing is, it just makes you wonder, though, did they know that there's something was there, and they just weren't willing to acknowledge it, really?
Right.
I think these days, everybody sort of acknowledges it now because there's so many people that are into it.
Yeah, the door's been open now. I mean, it's more accepted. Well, it is accepted now.
Yeah, definitely, because it's like, you know, there's so much evidence going on there from, you know, a lot of people, and it's like, you know, all the evidence is going on. It's getting harder and harder for these people to turn a blind eye to it now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, now mainly because of the shows. I mean, it's everywhere. The shows, the movies. I mean, for the last 10 years, I mean, it's just blown up. So everybody's into the spooky things.
So I'm gonna get on to the question I was going to ask you, what you were talking about 5 minutes ago. So, uh, what have you got planned then for 2023 with your team?
With my team, we're gonna start doing because we took a break there. Everybody needed to do their own thing for a while, take care of some personal issues. As you know, no one's gonna be as more passionate as the founders. I mean, like with me, I'm hardcore aggressive. I just want to go out. Whatever I put my mind to, that's what I'm going to do. And unfortunately, you may have some loyal members or friends, but no one's going to be as passionate as you are about it.
Yeah, yeah,
And so it gets hard sometimes. That's where you just want to quit because it's like, well, man, nobody's with me, nobody's on board. We want to go do this, but they want to go and do something else. You know, and it gets tough sometimes. So we need sometimes it's good to have that break with your members because that way it'll create a stronger, you'll come back stronger.
yeah,
And so yeah, everybody needed to do some things. So while they were doing all that, that's when I decided, well, like the podcast, I really didn't foresee that one, and that one just happened. And so I just started focusing on the podcast and just try to help people to get out. I mean, it's a platform that can bring other founders on and help them to get them to network. I mean, that's how I ran into you, Robin, and AJ and everybody else, the P3 family, the Parapose,
yeah.
and so I just seen, well, hey, you know what, I can do my little 2 cents. You know what I mean?
It's funny you say that because it's it's really strange to me, in a nice way. It's really strange that, the obviously for my story of especially getting into the podcast side of it, and for everybody else, because you know mine. I'm not say it was by accident, because it obviously was meant to be, which a lot of people, I think, who do podcasts, they were at some point meant to do them. It's just it's a story of how you actually get into it, that you think to yourself, really, that's, you didn't foresee it being that way.
Yeah.
Put it like this: I don't think I would ever have started my own podcast. So
Yeah,
it's one
and
of them
it's
things.
really tough. I mean, like I said, but it was tough at the beginning because I didn't know too much about the computer. You know what I mean? I know how to get on Facebook, but I didn't know how to start to do the editing because I do all my editing. I'll go through my footage, everything, and just trying to learn that side of it, the technical side of it. And
Yeah.
and so that was the challenge. The rest of it just fell in place. It's like you said, like it was just meant to be. It wasn't really that hard for me to do it, and I mean
No.
it took off pretty good. I mean, right off the gate, and I didn't really have any problems with it. So, but yeah, that's what we have in store. What I have in store is here probably here tomorrow. I'm going to go out and do something now because I'm going to start getting. We're going back. I have a member that's actually moving uh, back here to West Texas. He's actually going to be in here tonight. So I told him, well, great, man. Now we're gonna, it seems like even that's meant to be, even though it's a bad situation for him having to move back here. But it's good for the team.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. RGV Paranormal Lockdown.
What's up, Bert? Bert's a great guy, man. He's from down South Texas, McAllen.
Yeah, yeah. I got speaking to him a little while back. Uh, it just popped up on my screen, and I was like, when you hear the name of a paranormal team, it's like you automatically think, right, well, I'll add them and then see what they're like, kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, he seems a nice guy.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been awesome. Go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. I was going to say, I'll
Oh, I
ask
was
you to
just
carry on.
yeah, I was just saying. I mean, this 2022. That's when I decided to go ahead and start. because I've done pretty much everything on my own all these years. Growing up, being involved in a whole lot of crazy stuff, especially in my 20s. I mean, and, I don't know if you remember them years, but I was around.
Yeah, they were a while ago.
But I was around a lot of paranormal people. I just didn't know the language, paranormal or psychics or mediums and all this. I just knew they did a lot of crazy stuff, but I understood what they were doing for some reason. I just guess for me growing up like that, which, like I said, it was really tough because you're kind of an outcast in a way from society. You're
Yeah,
different,
yeah.
you know.
You can't be.
Right, you're different. So you have to find these different people to go and hang with. And of course, they were more advanced in the things that they were doing. So I got to see a lot of the, actually started out more of a darker side of the paranormal, you know,
Right.
and which was good because sometimes we experience that and we know what it is now, and,
Yeah.
and so yeah, it was, just starting to do that. And then, I really didn't even know that there was even other people that actually did paranormal investigations or anything like that. I just started going to houses and stuff by myself, abandoned places. And then, as I got older, when I actually started working for a living,
Mhm.
I didn't like that. But um, I've always been a truck driver. I drive a fuel truck now.
Yeah.
I still got a day job for a little bit longer, and uh, so I get to go to all the towns, all the little towns, and I see cemeteries. I mean, the old cemeteries, old abandoned buildings. So I'm fortunate enough to be able to stop for about 30 minutes, and just go wander off in there. So, but yeah, like I said, so I did a lot of investigating like that until finally when I did start to see the shows, when they started to come out, still really didn't even think about it. It was just something that just came on me. It's like, you know what? Maybe I this is what I need to start doing because I was kind of when you don't get to use your abilities. For me, I was very miserable because
Yeah.
I get around people and I sense things, and because if it almost feels like if you're not using them, it's not that you lose them. It's like a burden on you. Like
Yeah.
you have to get that out. It's kind of like when you're angry and you carry all that anger inside for a long time and it just builds up and builds up. You're miserable. You're always angry until you finally vent that out. And
Yeah.
so that's what I felt like. It was so when I started to actually thinking, well, you know what? Because my co-founder is my son, and so he's the same way. He has his abilities, and so we just got together one night, and we were actually in San Antonio when that happened, and it just started from there as far as the team goes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting that way because our team it's should I say it's fascinating to hear that you're a family team really because that's what we are. There's only really two of us because our son works long hours now and he doesn't come out as much now. So it's only like me and my mother-in-law, and obviously she's my skeptic in the team because although she believes in it and she loves it, but she has to see that thing being thrown, or she has to see this person walk past, one of
Right.
these ones. But no, we we try and get out as much as we can. But the problem that I had was that when I was working, it's trying to then find the time because you're not at home with the missus and the kids and stuff, and then it's like when you do have that time at home, it's like trying to find that time where you can then go out
Right.
and do that and trying to juggle it all around. And then obviously, whenever Julie got her illness and stuff, and I gave up my job to care for her, it was like then I had all the time in the world, but then I had to be there for her. So it was then again trying to find that time to to go out. But we do get out quite often, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of hard when you got that day job. I mean, like for me, I mean, for a while already, it's overlapping my day job where I don't have time to go to work. I don't. I mean, I mean, you're because this does require you. I know I've heard a lot of other groups come out on other podcasts, and they uh, they don't have a Facebook or a YouTube or anything like this, and they wonder why they're not getting any phone calls or why they're not, being invited to go anywhere. Was because you're not out in the media. I mean, hate it or love it, the media is the way you have to come out.
Yeah,
You have to have that. I mean, if you do it honestly and you're not just trying to, just get out there, and just become famous or something like that, which I doubt it's going to happen. I mean, well, I mean it could, but I mean if that's what you're looking for, then you're going to get your heart broken, But so this is just the way that you have to do it.
yeah. I always found it in in my head anyway. My view was that you see a lot of people who do this, and they think to themselves, right, I'm going to be a paranormal investigator. So what they'll do is they'll go and they'll spend hundreds of pounds or dollars on equipment, and they'll go and get all this stuff, and then they'll walk straight in thinking they can start at the top. And it's like no,
Yeah.
you've got to you've got to go in there with your phone in the dark and a torch and just film. You've got to then buy that K2 meter and use it. You've got to then get yourself a spirit box and use it, and you've got to build it up. I think there's too many in the field of people who go into places and they go in expecting everything to go boom in front of
Yeah.
them.
Right.
And it's like, do do you even know how to use that spirit box you have? Do you even know what a K2 meter's for?
Right.
What I mean? I've had to build ours up, and even now, I'll still use the least equipment I can.
Right. Yeah. It's I've noticed that here that like I said, when I started getting on social media on the paranormal, of course, like I said, I just put in paranormal and I started seeing my Facebook starts going crazy, so it's bringing in all these groups and podcasts and shows, whatever. And then when I started seeing other people how they're doing their thing, and it's like, yeah, this is not the way I've seen it. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like it doesn't really work like that. I mean, this is not something for me. It's always been um, that either you are or you're not. You know,
Yeah,
you can't. This is not like a job or a school that you can go to and go take a class on paranormal, and then now you're a paranormal investigator or researcher, or whatever you want to call yourself. For me, it's just kind of like either you are or you're not. Because if you come in and you're going to try to make a show out of it, or just go out there stumbling over things, because people don't realize that we actually put our lives in danger.
we
Because
do. Yeah,
we go out to places in the nighttime in the dark, and you don't know what you're going to run into. You got nature for one, and then you got the human element on the other side. And then not only that, because this and one of my old members that I had when we started out, one of the reasons why I think he left was because we did end up going to a forest, and it got to him really bad. And then he would always tell me, "What are we going to do when we go into this?" Because I do more of the outdoor thing. But this year we're going to start doing the residentials now.
yeah.
We did do one last year, and we did about 3 months ago. But I like going into the forest. I like dealing with the more of the native kind of spirits or the land spirits. So I'm more the one that goes miles into the forest at night in the dark. That I love that. I mean, I love that. And but he was always telling me, "What are we going to do if we run into somebody who has a cult and they're doing a sacrifice? And when there's 14, 15 of them, they got a big bonfire. You know what I mean? 3, 4 miles in the forest, and nobody can hear us. So
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. You could run into that. You're out there, nose poking around and everything, and you're gonna stumble. We have stumbled on a lot of things like that, and
Yeah,
and
definitely.
so people don't realize that when they go even into a building, it doesn't matter. I mean, wherever you go, you're going to go into a place that you don't know. You really don't know too much about the surroundings unless you go even during the day, because we always go during the day and kind of go look it out just to see where we don't fall into a pit or something. And but people don't realize that it's not a game. I mean, it's not. I know people watch it on TV and it looks cool on TV, but when you get out there, it's nothing like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I tend to do more indoor work. Uh, it's kind of weird. I speak to AJ about this all the time because the laws in different countries are so strange. Like over here, if we get caught in an abandoned building, which is obviously classed as trespassing, it's only a civil offence. So if we get caught and the police, for instance, would turn up, it would just be like, right, come on, you've got to leave now. Or
Yeah.
sometimes you say to them, I've had it before where they've turned up and they've been like, what are you doing? And paranormal investigation. We ain't doing no harm and stuff. And they'll be like, really? You got a channel and stuff? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Or the worst they'll say to you is, look, you've got to go. You know what I mean? Whereas it's so strange that the laws aren't like that over there.
Yeah. No, we're here in Texas. I mean, I don't know about everywhere else here, but I know in Texas, we're wild. It's the Wild West. Because we were doing an investigation in San Antonio one time, and we did have the the sheriff, San Antonio sheriff, show up on us, and I ended up flipping it around and interviewing him. I started just asking him because he came in there, what are y'all doing? We got our equipment and everything. So he sees that we're not out there just vandalizing something. So that always helps, you know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, these guys got cameras, you know, but at the at the same time it was funny because my son, he's a music artist, and we were actually shooting a video in an abandoned neighborhood. And but it was more of a darker side of a darker video, which we had an actress and everything. She was kind of like the like Laura Croft, you know.
Yeah,
So, but we had red lights and all kinds of stuff and candles in one of the houses because it was actually a whole neighborhood that was abandoned. And
yeah,
and so, but at the same time too, I said, well, hey, you know what? Since y'all are shooting this video, you know how things neighborhoods or houses that are left abandoned for a long time, usually something moves in, you know. So here's an opportunity to see what's in there, you know. And so, but they showed up. He showed up, and he goes up there and he sees all these 4 or 5 of us in there with this girl dressed up in this kind of scandalous outfit. We got candles all in the stairs. It's like, okay, what did I just walk into? What are you doing? Like, well, actually, we're shooting a video, but also too, I'm a paranormal investigator. So I kind of just turn it around, and started asking him, well, hey, have you ever been on a call that you got a bad feeling about, and it was just something that you just felt that this wasn't a normal call, you know? And
yeah,
yeah, ended up turning around, and he started telling me some stories that he's experienced, paranormal stories that he's experienced. So that was really cool.
yeah, yeah. A lot of them, I find with the with the security of the police, a lot of them, if you're fine with them when they turn up, because we have to look at it. I mean, I do, especially over here with the laws that yeah, we're not gonna get arrested, but the last thing you want to do is be narky and piss them off because
Yeah,
then they're going to look for a reason. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's like I just find it. Just you tell them what you're doing. Have a bit of a chat with them about it and stuff like this. If they still see that you shouldn't be there, then it's fine. We'll leave because sometimes we go to places over here. I've been to places before, and I've had to climb a fence to get into the grounds, and then I've had to climb up to a first floor window to get in and stuff like
Right.
that. But you know, yeah, all I do is just say to them, if they turn up, which they have a couple of times, is just say, look, there's the way I get in. That window's open. That or if there's an open door somewhere, that door's open. That's how I get in. And
Yeah.
if you want me to leave, I'll leave.
Right. We really don't haven't ran into just that one time because we were in the city, but normally we're out so remote that there's nobody, and we've been in situations before where I kind of wish someone of an officer did show up because I think we're fixing to get it's so the paranormal gets so intense. It's kind of like, okay, we need to get out of here, and I need help now. So it's kind of like I hope somebody does show up, man. But no, that's what I mean. That we've been more into the more remote places.
Yeah, I love that. I love the remote places over here. Unfortunately, the majority of locations that we have over here, they're not really really remote. They're in the, like, for instance, you know we go to a location and it's in a residential area, for instance, or it's in an industrial area. So you'll see that there's no fence around it, and there is an open door or an open window, but you can't park your car outside it, because then that's basically you leaving the big sign on top of your car pointing saying we're in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got to then, like, park down the street and then walk up to it.
Right.
And we went to one time, uh, and we parked down the street because there was houses facing it, and we parked down the street. And my mother-in-law, she sat in the car, and our eldest son was there. He sat in the car, and I come up to see if there was a way in. And the house directly across the road, in the upstairs bedroom, there was a man sitting on his computer with the curtains open. And as he was looking at the screen, he was also looking straight out the window. So it was like, right, this guy is going to see me here, because the gates to the place where the house were closed, but you could sort of shimmy under them because there was quite a big gap. So it was like, well, this guy's going to see me here. So I turned my torch off and thought, right, it's quite dark. Maybe he won't see me. But as I was trying to shimmy under the gate, there was like bits of metal and stuff, and I had to put my torch on to see, make sure I wasn't getting caught. And I was like, then I managed to get in without him seeing me. So I walked around the building. I found an open window to get in. So then I had to come back out. I had to shimmy under the gate again without being seen. I had to go back down to the car to get them, and then I had to try and get 3 or 4 of them underneath the gate without being seen. So sometimes it's like you think, is it really worth it?
It's exciting, man. It's fun.
It is. I wouldn't change my mind. I don't know about you. This is a question I was actually going to ask you. Do you find that even if you're sitting at home and you could be sitting watching TV, having something to eat or whatever, your mind's constantly racing?
Yeah, that's one of my problems, man. I'm always like 3 or 4 different things in my head, trying to. And actually, that's how when I'm working on my computer, I gotta have heavy metal music on, and I gotta have either I'm on commenting on one podcast on my tablet, and then I'm working on my stuff at the same time. And it seems like that's the only way I can concentrate. But I'm actually listening to doing all 3 at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I find that my mind's always racing. It's like, I'm constantly thinking, like, where can I go next?
Yeah.
What location will I go? Because I've got loads of locations to do, but it's just getting the opportunity to do them. And it's like, where can I go next? And maybe I have a location in mind that I really want to do, but will I go there when it's daylight, or will I go when it's dark? And then you're also thinking to yourself, right, my channel is all investigations or podcasts. I want something else to try, and that's why I started my Celebrity Cemetery series. But it's always like, there's something else there waiting for me to pick up on.
Yeah. You got any
There's something
cats?
else I can do.
Do you have any cats?
I do.
So what you're saying is like, how do you know you're a paranormal investigator? Like you truly a real one? If you got cats, when you call your cats, you're going
Yeah.
when you call your cats,
Yeah.
and you get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. No, yeah.
It's this B7 box when you call your cats. That's how you know you're a paranormal investigator.
Yeah. Talk.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call a cat. Come through. But no, I find that I'm always on the lookout for something. Not, when I say slightly different, not going off the paranormal reel, but just trying to sort of mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. It's
But
it's
it's
it,
it's hard.
yeah, it's hard. I mean, that's you'll beat yourself to death on it, man. You'll go nuts. Um,
Yeah.
you'll that's what happens with me. I got so many things that I want to do, and I think this is probably why it really hasn't been really hard for me, because this is stuff that I already have dreamt of or thought about for years. So really, just when I started to do, like I said, the team, everything just came natural. Like I already had a whole room full of ideas and places to go and how I wanted to do things. And like I said, and
Yeah.
then the podcast, when that came in, it's just something that just happened overnight. It just in a way, but even that wasn't very difficult because I already had all this in my mind.
Yeah.
So everything has just come natural for me. And then I just felt, you see, when you started to do what you've always been wanting to do, but you didn't think you could, you know, um, because you didn't know that there was actually other people like this, and so it just came natural to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I just before we go any further, I got Brian, our friend Brian Laverty. Hey guys, happy New Year, and Anthony, thanks for your kind words on your podcast.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. So uh, I'm trying to think of how. Do you find that on an investigation, do you ever like beat yourself up over stuff? Like maybe you'll go there with all these ideas in mind to do, and then when you walk into the place or into the forest or whatever you're going to do, and then activity kicks off and stuff like this, and you end up doing all these things completely different. And then when you're in the car on your way home, you're thinking, God, I really want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty hard on myself, man. I mean, that's just how we are. No one's going to be harder on yourself than you. You're your biggest critic. And even when it comes to the podcasting, I mean, the other night I tried it. I did a podcast where I came on. It was just me by myself, and just to thank everybody, the P3 family, the Parapost family, just give a shout out to everybody, kind of and also bring in some of my, just to give a little view on what I was bringing in 223. Oh man, I felt like I was terrible. I forgot everything. I mean, and it's like it's not my first one. I mean, I've already done so many of them, but because I was born in Dallas, so that's a humid area, and then now I live in West Texas, which is a really dry heat. So I'm used to the heat. I like the heat, and I'm used to 110-degree weather. I don't
Yeah,
like
I
the
love that.
I don't like the cold for nothing. I mean, nothing. And I came in here and it was so cold in this room, because this room's a lot bigger, and it was just so cold in here that I was shivering that I couldn't even think. And I only did it for 15 minutes. Then I got off because I felt like, dude, you need to shut up, man. You sound terrible. I mean, I really beat myself over that one. So yeah, we're pretty hard on ourselves. And as far as investigations, we have gone back to one place that we visit a lot, which is the forest, and got all these expectations. This time I brought more equipment. I brought all this stuff. Okay, we're gonna do this, and we go in there, and nothing happens. You know,
Yeah,
that's the worst ones. And then, or I should have did this, or I should have did that. Yeah, I mean that's just how we are. We're like we're artists in a way, and we're never happy on what we do. We'll start to feel we could have did it better. Everyone will say
yeah,
you did a great job, Robin. I mean that was awesome, but in your mind it's like no, it didn't. And man, I could have did this another way, and this didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. We're always going to be like that. I mean,
yeah. See, I'm not a big fan of. I'm gonna sound I'm gonna sound Irish when I say this, even though I am. But I'm not a big fan of going back to places over and over again, although I have done before on my channel. But if I go somewhere and the activity is really mental and I'm getting loads of stuff, then yeah, I'll go back again and maybe try something different. But if I go somewhere and there's not really much happening and stuff like that, and I don't, because I can sort of sense it as well. I'm quite sensitive to it, and I don't really get much. Then I just think to myself, right, well, I've done that location, but it's done with now.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, some places are like that, but for us, this certain place we go back. It's in San Antonio. We go back every time we go to San Antonio. We go to that location,
Yeah,
and every time we go, and I know people say this that well, the second time it wasn't as crazy as the first time, but every time after that, we always get something out of that place. But that's one of them hot spots. And a lot of people don't, even though there's so many paranormal investigators in San Antonio, um, a lot of them don't go there. They won't go into that forest,
yeah,
and
yeah,
but yeah, I understand what you're saying because there are some places that we do go to, and it's kind of like we went to the first time, we go back 2 or 3 times after that, and it's just gone. I mean, I don't know what happened, so I don't know. Sometimes it's just the people, I guess. I've noticed too that I've had other people with me, and it seems like when I have certain people with me, every time we do something like that, we get a lot of activity. And then I change it up. Maybe someone couldn't make it or whatever, and I take somebody else, and nothing happens. And I've kind of
yeah,
tested that little theory there. I said, well, maybe it's us three, or maybe it's us four. And that we collectively we bring something, and it attracts these spirits more. And so that's
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
so that's something that I've always wondered. You know, so that's why I try to keep it's four of us, and I really kept it like that. I don't. I already got my taste of the members, of the wacky members, and it's kind of hard when you have to get rid of somebody. And so I just keep it the way it is, and it is family.
It is. It is. It's so nice to be, especially like the P3 program and stuff like that. It's so nice to be in something like that where you are all friends and it does all feel like family. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah,
no there's no drama, there's no bitching, there's nothing like that.
yeah. Um, yeah, that's it's been awesome. I mean, that's Matt Barron, of course, like I said, and Brian Laverty. I mean, when I first ran into Barron, Matt in the P3, and that's when back when he used to rant. He stopped all that now, but he had them rant shows, man. They used to trip me out, but but yeah, that really. I mean, I was just amazed by it. On how, but you could tell that they were genuine, that he's genuine, and they both
Yeah,
are, and that's what drew me in, because I was looking for somewhere to connect with, some other people to connect with. I don't been down that road, and I stayed away from it. I just did my own thing for a long time because I just didn't want the. I mean, it's just like anything else. I mean, it's really competitive. It can be with some people,
yeah, it's
and
terrible over here.
right. So you don't. So I just stayed away from everything, and even at first, I really did not want to start a paranormal group. I was just happy in a way by myself. I wasn't, you know, uh, because I did want a team to go out there. Just a small team. Not even want 6 or 10. I'm not into the bigger groups because I just think for me it's more headache. That's how I feel about it. This is my opinion. I really deal with my plus if it's my kid, I can always yell at him. See, so and then it's his cousin, so I can yell. I'm his uncle, so I can yell at him too. So,
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
so yeah, so but yeah, but it's been awesome. I mean, that's to meet them and then start to even met you through there, met AJ through there, and everybody else. I mean, it's connecting like that. It's just been really wild.
Yeah, it's having them people that you know. If you think well, for instance, say myself, say I was coming over to Texas. What I
Yeah,
mean? I'd be like, right, well, I've got Anthony there that I can pick his
yeah,
brain on, you know,
yeah.
where to go, and so I might maybe even do a collab at some point, and you've always got that with all these people because you know
Oh,
they're all over America, they're all over Canada.
right.
You've always, from my point of view.
I'm gonna have to jump off really quick, Brian. Take it, Brian. Robin, I gotta turn off the stove. This thing's gonna burn real quick. I'll be
Yeah, no
right.
problem. Go ahead. While he's gone, people, as well, I just want to say to you a very, very happy new year from Haffern Paranormal, from Coventry Circle Paranormal, My Journey Paranormal, and Talking with the Source. He's back.
Okay. All right. Yeah, my wife is cooking something on there. She left it on there. Told me to watch it.
So, my next question to you, Anthony, is what is your do you have like say a schedule. When you go to investigate a location, do you have like a certain way of doing things the same way all the time, or do you mix it up?
Yeah, the way I used to do it at first was I would overthink things. You know what I mean? Like you said, you that's where you're hurting yourself because you're trying to plan everything. You're planning the trip. When you get there, okay, we're going to hit this place, that place, and then you end up doing nothing, and you end up doing something else, and it just nothing works. So what I started to do, what worked for us, well, for me, was like my team will ask me, like, okay, where are we going to go when we get there? I don't know. What are we going to do? I don't know. We're going to go eat first. When we get there, we'll get the room. Then we're going to go eat. And then while we're eating, uh, then we'll just see what happens. Whatever draws us, which way we're going to go. So
Yeah,
I really don't plan them anymore. Like, I mean, I plan the trip, but once we get there, I don't plan. I don't have a plan, and I just go with the flow. You know what I mean? And just whatever which way we're gonna go, I may just end up saying, okay, let's start heading this way to that place, and then in the middle, make a left. Let's go over here. You know what I mean? So, and then we'll end up going to that place, and that seems like that works. Where I just kind of leave it up in for the universe to take us where we're going to end up going, and it's worked pretty good. I mean, we don't. Everybody knows that now. We go somewhere. We just go eat, relax, and then from there we just go wherever it takes us.
yeah. I think it's one of the worst things you can do is try and plan it because,
Right,
like you say, it never ever works out like that.
right, and it's worked really well. I mean, we end up hitting places that we didn't expect that we were going to go, and then
Yeah,
and we end up getting some good evidence or good footage and experiences, and so that's worked really well. So I've been sticking to that,
Yeah. I
unless we're going
I
to go to
find
a specific place.
yeah, yeah. I find that sometimes, we've been going out and I'll think, right, well, the locations that I have to go to today aren't very far from home, so I'll maybe say, well, we'll be able to squeeze three of them in, and you'll go to the first one, no access or whatever, and you'll go to the second one, and it'll either be flattened or there'll be no access, or but maybe on your way to the next one, you'll find like an abandoned pub or an abandoned house, and there's a way in, and you go in and you start doing your investigation, you get carried away in it, and before you know it, you think to yourself, I haven't really got time to do the last one now, but this one's been so amazing that
Yeah.
there's been so much to do in it. But obviously, when you were saying about the forest, uh, so you go quite deep into that forest. Do you film as as you're going the whole way in, or do you wait until you get in before?
Um, that one it's because that one has an urban legend. It's a bridge, and when you cross, I've talked about it a lot, but it's called the Donkey Lady Bridge, and it has its own urban legend where that on the back in the day there was a a lady that lived in a house there by the river because there's the San Antonio River there, and so she lived there with her donkey, and there was a little boy that would come by and start throwing rocks at the donkey, and I think the donkey bit him or something, and or she ran him off, and he goes and gets his dad, and his dad was a pretty prominent person in San Antonio, so they came back with his friends and they killed the donkey and burned the house with her in it, and but when she was on fire, she melted, and her face was melted in the shape of a donkey, and her hands melted to nubs like hoofs. She fell in the river. They never found her. So now she appears, and there's a lot of stories about that where an apparition would come out and jump on the car if you parked your car on the bridge. And so
Right.
that's the one that we went to the first time, and we went to it late because we were doing a show for my son, and then we got out and we said, hey, well, let's just go somewhere. And we had no idea. We just Googled it and it came up there in San Antonio. So we went to it. But yeah, once we turned into that make that right and started going down into the forest, like you could tell, I could feel like there's something here. This whole thing's a whole different atmosphere. It's like we went into another realm. And
Yeah.
we get there, we get to the bridge, and there's people that go there because San Antonio's a tourist town. So there's always people looking for things like that. They come in. We went to the bridge, and I kind of always when you pass the bridge, you walk over the bridge, and then it goes into the forest, and it's a trail. There's trails that go into it, and they'll run about 17 miles in there, and they wind. But we passed that. We went past the bridge, and we did see, well, my son and my other member did see an apparition of a woman in there, but there was just so much stuff in there that we ended up going deeper in there. And the first time we only had one camera, and actually it was only this one right here. We just had this one,
Right.
and so we weren't really prepared for this because we were just, I'm not gonna lie, we were a little tipsy. we just we just went on a little thing. It's four guys, you know what I mean. We just left the club doing a show, so yeah, we were little. Let's go over here. Let's do a ghost hunt. No, we're not supposed to do that, but hey, what do you know? We're from Texas. We're guys. We drink. So we really didn't get any footage that night. But when we went back the second time, but we had so much happen that night. That's just a whole long story on itself. But when we did end up going back to San Antonio, like a month later, we went to it, and this time we did take some equipment and some cameras and stuff, and we the that one right there, we can start filming from the beginning. But we'll go in there. We went in that time 3 miles where there's a 2-story house in the middle of that forest. It's abandoned, and it looks like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house. And
Nice.
so yeah, it's we found it. It's just about you have to walk like 3 miles in there. We got a little bit of filming doing it, but again, it's so dark in there that you have to have some really good night vision
Yeah.
to do it. And I did have a night vision camera, but it wasn't good enough to do it with, you know. And but we do start to film, but we kind of do and we don't on that one because your batteries are going to drain. That place,
Yeah.
that place right there is so hard to get anything on film. I have a lot of audio from it, um, but because your equipment dies in there. I mean that place is kind of like you're going to experience more than you're going to capture. So
Yeah.
it's more of a personal experience for all of us because that place, like I've told people before, we've been there 6 times, and every time we've taken other people in there that are gone with us or met us out there, and I tell them this place is going to challenge your psychic ability, whatever it is that you have, it's gonna it's gonna challenge it, and you're gonna come
Yeah.
out of here stronger. So really, it's kind of like a training ground in a way. I know it sounds kind of crazy, um, but it's really hard to get the what you're going to experience in there. You know, like
Yeah.
I've seen the wall. We crossed over into we crossed a fence through the tree line, and once we crossed that fence, uh, one of the other guys that was there, they went in with us, and he ended up. But I would say just he started getting taken over by a spirit, and because he started talking in a different voice, and he started wandering off deeper into the forest. And if you go too deep in there, you'll fall in the river.
Yeah.
And so and But once we crossed over and we were trying to cross back to come back to the path, I could see a wall that looked like it looked like water. And the girl and my other member that were right no more than 10 feet in front of us, they couldn't. They were saying they couldn't see us or hear us, but yet we could see and hear them. And there was a wall that was shimmering, and so I felt that we ended up crossing somewhere else. So that place is different. It's if you believe in portals and gateways and all that, you're gonna see them in there.
I
And
really got to get over there then, haven't
yeah,
I?
yeah, it's I'm telling you, and it'll play with your mind because everything that we saw that night, uh, we came back the next day and the landscape changed. It wasn't the same. It's kind of like somebody went in and rearranged everything.
Wow.
I mean, and that night we weren't, we were a little tipsy. We were straight. You know what I mean? So that was just that first night. But but even that night, she was saying that my member was telling me, she was saying we couldn't see y'all. I go, we could see y'all. We were right there in front of y'all, but I could see that wall. So we had to kind of go. I could feel it and I could see it, but see, you can't capture that on film.
No.
It won't come out because this is like your natural eyes that are seeing this. So you could see like big round dark holes in the forest line in the trees. And if you would go through that one, uh, it was different. It felt like time didn't even exist in there. We were in there for 6 hours, and we thought we were in there maybe like for 45 minutes. We were in there for 6 hours, and it was and like I said, it messes with your mind. Like
Yeah.
you don't know where like it tries. I can't even explain it too much. It's an experience that's going to challenge you on whatever it is that you're like, you
I
know.
really got to get over there then.
Right.
I really got to get there. Is it the bridge part of it you're talking about? Have you? Well, first of all, have you ever been to Goatman's Bridge?
The Goatman's Bridge, the one in Denton, Texas.
Yeah.
No, I haven't gone there. I have a friend, another paranormal friend that lives in Denton, and I've seen a lot of things about it, but I also heard a lot of bad things about it. Like it's not really what I know. Ghost Adventures and Zach went there, and they made a big show about it. Um, But I've been wanting to go, but like he was telling me, he goes, you can go, but I really don't think it's worth it. It's just a lot of hype because
Right.
there's a lot of snakes in that part because it's another river there. He goes, there's just a lot of snakes, a lot of drug people go in there, so you may run into them. And he goes, but I wouldn't go in there.
Yeah. Is it the same kind of a is it the same kind of bridge that you're talking about, like the metal structure with?
No, that one, the one in Denton, that's a wooden bridge. The one in San Antonio, that's an actual cement bridge.
Right.
And it's a really small one. I mean, it's wide and small. You can get a car to there. It actually it used to be a road that you could cross the bridge, but they blocked it off. So now you just go across that bridge and then you go into the forest there.
Yeah. It's definitely somewhere I'm
But
gonna
that
have to
place
go to.
would challenge you, man. Like that's what I don't understand. And all these people, I know a lot of people down there. I mean, San Antonio is one giant paranormal hotspot because of all the Alamo War, the war, the battles that they had back in the day there, and um, there's a lot of native ground there where the whole city is almost built on top of native graveyards.
Yeah.
And they have no, you can google it and they'll tell you that this plaza is built on top of a native burial ground. It's like they have no shame in it. and so the whole place is just one because that's where the Alamo's at. So uh it's just one big place of just paranormal. I call it a candy store. And at all the people that say, I ask them, do y'all go into that forest? This is no, we don't go because we either get a bad vibe, or there's people doing the Ouija board in there, and we don't want to be a part of it, or whatever. And I'm one that I do use the Ouija board, so yeah, I got them all over right here, and um, that's I get a lot of flack for that, but that's okay. Hey, it's a tool.
Yeah. And some people believe in it, some people don't. Like, I mean, I wouldn't personally, I wouldn't use one, but that's not to say that I don't think that they're not a
Yeah.
great tool for that. It's just something that I wouldn't do. But then there's probably stuff that I would do that other people wouldn't do. So it's one of them
I
things.
do it all, man. I do it all. I don't back down from anything. If it works, I'm going to use it.
Yeah. I think with the Ouija board, I seen it being done one time. I'm back like when I was in school, and I seen these couple of people when we were in school. We were standing in a corridor, and I seen these couple of young ones, and they were the sort of done like a makeshift one, and there was loads of bad stuff started happening. And I think people that understand them and can open them properly and close them properly and ensure that you're well protected while doing them and stuff like that. But I just seen a lot of the, they did it where they had a house key, and it was hanging on like a little chain, and it was shaking and stuff, and it was going mad, and like they dropped it in fear, and it was on the floor. It was jumping everywhere on the floor, and they were standing on it and everything, and it kept on jumping. It was like, all these other things were happening, and it's like they couldn't, you know, they couldn't get it to stop, and it was like,
Yeah, I like it too because I've used it since I was. I got a birthday coming up. I'll be turning 55, and I've been using that since I was 17. So,
yeah,
and the first two were, I would say, bad experiences, but the reason why, because I think because we were on we were a little high there.
do you find though, is there something that you can do or to ensure that if you're doing one of the boards that you will not get anything demonic or anything like that through, or because obviously you hear these stories and people will say, once you open one of these and start doing it, anything can come through and you can't
Yeah.
stop it. You know what I mean?
Well, see, like here, like I said, in my room, see, I have that little one there. It was just my little diary book, and then I got my my other one, which is look at that. That's a big one right there. And then I do got my board back over here. My board's over there, and then something else over around here. The deal with that is what I've seen with it, and I've heard on all these paranormal shows and all these paranormal investigators. Oh no, I'll stay away from it. Oh no, this. Oh no, that. It's like, man, you know what? To each his own. But the thing is with this board, if you go and research it, it actually was a tipping table back when before even the board existed, and it's just how you if you come to it like with anything, because to me I brought this up. Okay, well it's like you open the door to the demonic. Well, you open up yourself as soon as you walk into a place and you say, "Is anyone here?" or "Is anything does anybody want to speak?" You just open the door to the other side too.
Yeah,
And then when you compare, well, the board brings in bad spirits because you don't know what's out there. Well, so what? Do you know what's out there when you ask the question, "Is anyone here?" Because you just
yeah,
opened that paranormal door. You're doing the exact same thing. It's just that the spirit board has gotten a really bad reputation because the only thing you see on YouTube are the bad experiences. The only thing you hear about it when you talk to people, I had a bad experience. I had a bad experience, and it goes on and on and on. So it's just like talking to someone, and all you hear is the bad things about them, but you never hear the good things. You know what I mean? And then you meet the person, it's kind of like, well, hey, that guy's not that bad. I mean, he's really a pretty cool guy, but all you heard is all these crazy stories about him, which aren't even true. I mean,
yeah,
so yeah, so if you come into this and like anything, even with the spirit box, the SP7, I have one, and you're doing the same thing. It's just the SP7 is new technology, and the board is old technology. But
yeah,
it's the same thing. So how do you close a spirit box? Because you opened it when you start to ask it questions. You know what I mean? So how do you
yeah,
close? So how do you close the spirit box? You got to put it, like on the board. Where if you don't put the planchette on goodbye, then you leave it open, and you're gonna get it now. Okay. Well, so my question is, how do you close the spirit box? Because it's the same thing. You don't know what you're talking to. We really don't know. Nobody can say for 100% that this is that person or whatever it is that that is good. You don't know. You could be getting deceived. So with just like anything with the board, if you come in already expecting if you come in with bad energy, you know, first you would have to um, meditate and cleanse yourself. Get rid of all your bad thoughts, all your whatever it is that you have. Meditation and cleanse yourself. That way, when you come to the board, you come with it clean. You're not going to bring something already that you're bringing in, and then you're going to manifest that through there. So if you're bringing in already bad intentions, well, I'm going to see a devil, or this is the devil and Satan, whatever. Well, that's what you're going to get back. So it's just like energy. Whatever you put out there, it's going to come back. You put good energy, it's going to come back good. And most people already have this thing in their mind. This board is of the devil or Satan. You know what I mean? Demonic.
yeah,
So even if they don't think about it, and their subconscious is already there. So subconsciously, you're already manifesting this energy into this portal that you're going to open up. So what are you going to call? You're going to call bad things to come through it. So yeah, you're going to have a bad experience. But if you come into it clean, then you'll get a clean reaction from it. We've used it. We used it 3 months ago in a house in Mineola, Texas. Uh, that's well known to be haunted in every room, and it used to be a brothel. And uh, in the attic, when we were up in the attic, we did a Ouija board session, and we got 4 girls that came through, and they gave the names. But then we had one spirit that was holding them from leaving. And the story from it was that it was a brothel, and they had because at that time when people would have kids and they didn't want them, they would just sell them or give them away. They'll trade them off because they
Yeah.
couldn't afford it. And that's what they did. She was when she came through, she was saying that her parents had left her there when she was young, and they told her that she was going to stay here with a friend, but actually they sold her. And there was three other girls there, and then the one man that ran the outfit back then, he kept them trapped there, and that now even in the afterlife, there he still has them, and he won't let them go through. And that time right there, I have a my equipment was getting thrown around. I have a tripod that I have my camera on, and that tripod that I have is a real professional, sturdy tripod. You can't that's not going to fall with you. You have to really push that thing over,
Yeah.
and it got knocked over. And knocked over. It took out two cameras, and then but as we were doing the session, he kept coming through and blocking them from speaking. And that one stayed with me, and it's still with me now because I felt that um, these women in life were tormented by all these men that would come in and were held by this man there and wishing they could just die. I mean, they're having to do things that nobody wants to do like that.
Yeah.
And then they reach a point in their life where they're just saying, I just wish I was dead. Death is better than this. And then even in death, they're still held captive by this evil man.
Yeah.
And he kept blocking us from bringing them through. And of course, like I said, he was just trying to take out all the equipment. But the board was I mean, it was not going crazy or nothing like you see it. Oh, it's the devil now because it's doing all this. It's just giving us the names and the information. And but I really felt on that after we left that because it was many paranormal groups that happened to go on that day that we went. And but I felt that I'm still connected to it because I felt like we found out the truth. We got this communication going, and it came through the board. So, and none of us came out of there possessed. None of us came out there and got in a car wreck or something followed me home from using the board. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So see, that's what I mean. You can't do that every time. And because we didn't come at it, the other person that was with me is another friend of mine that this is what he does also. He was actually channeling the girls through him also while we were doing the board session. And but nobody, and it's not the first time, and you can have good evidence and good responses through it if it's like they say, if you use it the correct way. But you have to be that way. You got to get
Yeah.
rid of all this stuff, because to me it's like, okay, people put this thing down so much and are so afraid of it. Oh no, I had a bad experience. I had a bad experience. Well, I had two of them too the first time, but I was high as a kite. And I
Yeah.
was 17 years old, you know what I mean? But after that, I mean, no. And now I used to take it to cemeteries by myself. All the things that you hear about, the do's and don'ts about doing it, I did it. And it wasn't, of course, back then I didn't know that you just weren't supposed to do that, but it's not even that way. So to me, it's the same thing. You use a spirit box and people are real. That's what you see the most now. All types of different spirit boxes, portal box, SB7, SB11, all these types of communication devices. But at the end of the road, at the end of the day, it's all the same thing. You're opening up a way of communication, a line, and you don't really know what's on the other side and what you're speaking to.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you got to try it one day.
Yeah. When you put it like that, it's just it's like, in fact, it's not like it is. It's what you said. It's the stigma that's being created by the what I would call the misuse of the board over the years. You know, it you go on an investigation with people who know how to use it, and you'd be more inclined to put your finger on the planchette or the glass if you know that the people have opened it properly and they're going to close it properly and they've done it like a million times before and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Okay,
But then,
I even have a little baby one. Look
Anthony, what I was going to say was, if you'd agree to it, I'd love to have you on again, and especially when AJ's on,
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
because
Yeah, he owes me. He owes me two. He owes me two of them now because this is the second time.
yeah, he does. Obviously, I didn't want to not do it because I knew you. Obviously, you were waiting to come on, and obviously, when we advertise, there is people who wait for it as well. But I just want to thank you very much for coming on. Sorry, it was a bit delayed at the start,
Oh, it's okay.
but these things happen.
You got your
But
chance to get to do your own podcast now. See, it's not as easy as you think it is, huh?
don't be telling AJ. No, honestly, I want to talk to you more about the investigation side and the techniques and stuff. But obviously, I'll do that whenever AJ's on because he'll obviously have questions.
I got a question for you that I'm going to start to ask now. Do you use night vision?
No. Now the reason being, I do have a camcorder with night vision. Now this is going to sound very silly, but I have two phones and a camcorder, and what I usually do, I use one of my phones just primarily for like filming and stuff on. My other phone is my normal everyday phone, but I use it for taking pictures. So if I'm walking around filming, then if I think to myself, oh, there's something over there, instead of turning the camera away, I'll just get my other one and just click it while I'm still filming and stuff. But the amount of stuff that I have got now, I mean, it's not on a par to millions of other people who have got a lot better stuff, but I'm one of these ones. I get very impressed very easily,
right?
And the amount of stuff that our little team has caught in our time doing this, to me anyway, is phenomenal for only being a little team of 2 or 3 people that go out once a week or whatever, and the evidence and stuff and pictures and stuff that we have caught, and it's all through phone, and it's like I like I say, I bought a camcorder.
Hold on, Robbie, my alarm just went off. my alarm. I'll be right back.
Was that paranormal?
Okay, thank you.
Or was it Amazon? At the door. Pizza delivery. Come up again. He's burnt the toast. Who burnt the toast?
Can you hear all that? I set the fire alarm off. I guess I burned my wife's roast. I guess I'm in trouble now.
Yeah, no, so the amount of stuff that we've got was only literally on a little phone camera. And like I say, I've bought a camcorder that can do night vision, and I am going to use it, but I'm just reluctant at the minute because I seem to catch a lot of stuff by not using night vision.
Yeah, no, it's because I just didn't know because some people use the green vision and some use the black and white vision, and I have seen that people do catch different evidence on the different colors of it.
Yeah,
So I just wanted to see if you did use it, which did you prefer, the green or the black and white?
I think. I mean, I've seen it being used before. I think the black and white's slightly better. I think the black and white gives you a more clearer picture.
Yeah,
I think the green can sometimes make things out that aren't necessarily there.
right. I think the green one is more for the TV show
Yeah, the
because it
green
looks
one
more
looks better,
spookier.
should we say? But I think the black and white
Yeah,
for capturing evidence, I would go black and white.
right. Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
Yep, not a problem.
Yeah,
But
get that
listen, like I
smoke.
was saying, Anthony, we will have you on again. I'll get it sorted with AJ, make sure he's not ill, and we'll have you on again. But
Yeah.
you want to just before you go, you want to you
You see,
want to put the fire out.
I bring fire to the show, man.
You want to just give a shout out of all the platforms you can be found on.
yeah. You can go to Race World Podcast on Facebook, uh, Texas Race Hunters on YouTube, and if you just want to hit me up on my profile, just go under Anthony Ceballos, and you'll find me there.
Not a problem. Well, once again, Anthony, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, Robert.
Well, obviously, we'll be in touch probably on different podcasts nearly every day, but
Yeah.
but no, thanks for coming on, and to yourself and your family, a very very happy New Year,
Happy New Year
and
to
to
you.
everybody watching as well.
Alrighty. Thanks for having me on.
Not a problem. Thank
And,
you.
all right. Thank you. See you.
Bye. Right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. That was good. That was. I like Anthony. I'd speak to him on other podcasts and on other platforms and stuff as well. So he is a nice fella. Uh, he will be on again along with a shed load of other guests. Coming into the new year, there will be a lot more guests coming on. We're going to have some people coming back who were on before, and we're going to have some new ones as well. But that's going to be. I'm not going to give anything away as to who they are yet. I'm going to try and do it. Maybe not January, but maybe from February. I'm going to try do it. Working along with AJ to have it so that we can do a month by month, so we can give you a month's worth of what's coming up, like in February, and then at the start of March, what's coming up in March and stuff like that. But it's something to look into. Like I said, very, very happy new year to everybody watching, and please continue to watch. There'll be a lot more. From Talking with the Source, from Robin, from Halfern Paranormal, and from AJ, who's not here, it's a very goodbye and see you soon.